everyone, it's Sharana from Payroll Waits, and today I'm going to be reviewing And Just Like That, which is currently streaming on the HBO Max platform. The series stars Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis as they reprise their roles as Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte as they navigate their journey from the complicated reality of life and friendships in their 30s to the even more complicated reality of life and friendships in their 50s. So for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome, hello, so glad you came, I hope you stay. I'll tell you what I liked about the series, what I didn't like about this series, and is it worth your time or not watching And Just Like That, where the first 2 episodes of the 10 episode series is available on HBO Max, with new episodes airing every single Thursday. So just to let you guys know, I'm going to avoid spoilers for this review. I will be doing weekly recaps starting next week, so don't you worry. I will make sure I will get the recaps to you on time. But for the purpose of this review, I was actually able to see the first 4 episodes of the season. So shout out to HBO Max for allowing me to be able to screen these episodes early for review. But let me get into some of the things that I did enjoy about this season, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, okay? Some choices were made. I'm not going to say all those choices were some good choices or that they made sense, but choices were made, so we're going to give them an E for effort. But, you know, out of respect, because I don't want to be petty, let me go ahead and start with the positives of what I enjoyed about this series so far. And so one of the first things that I will have to say, it's just nice to see everyone back. Now, before y'all get into the little comment section, I'm going to talk about Samantha being missing, who is played by Kim Cattrall. I'll talk about that. But for the people that did show back up, it was nice to see everyone. And I will say there's some fun appearances for some characters throughout the series. Some that you might not actually remember. So if you weren't a diehard fan watching Sex and the City like I was, there might be some people like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, who is that? And why are they important? But I thought they did a good job of those who I've seen so far who have popped their heads in for this series. But also, too, one of the things that I do want to talk about, the importance of this series, and especially having a series about women, but most importantly, women in their 50s. I do like that we get to see more shows showcasing the different range of ages of women, because just because you're not in your 20s or your 30s doesn't mean that you're not still living life, going through issues with friendship, going through issues about the realities of life, the realities of getting older. And I really love that it introduces a lot of different topics throughout the course of this season, you know, talking about, you know, what it means to be a parent, and can women really have it all? And also too, talking about things like fertility, you know, actually introducing non-binary characters into this season, but also too, just talking about reinventing yourself. You know, how do you present yourself to the world now that you're older? Do you try to conform with the times, or do you embrace where you're at in life? And I think there's an interesting conversation that does happen between Miranda and Charlotte in the first episode that I was like, okay, I'm glad that they actually addressed this. But also too, it does talk about, you know, some of the heavier topics about dealing with grief. How do you move forward? You know, how is it about being single and feeling like you're never going to be able to find someone? And I love that we get to explore what these topics look like, especially throughout, you know, different ages in your life. I think it's really important to have a show that talks about that and doesn't just focus on what it was like being young, as if after you're out of your 30s, like everyone, your life is just over, because that's not true. But also too, I do want to say that I did appreciate their attempt at adding diversity to this series. One of the biggest pain points that a lot of people have talked about, people have dragged Sex and the City since it, you know, went off air, about the lack of diversity that it has, that it had, and that they actually tried to kind of, you know, right some wrongs with this new series. But we do have the additions of Sarah Ramirez, who plays like a non-binary comedian. We have Nicole Ari Parker, Karen Pittman, Sarita Churi. And I thought it was like, I was like, okay, look at all this different melanin on my screen right now. I was like, thank you for finally observing all of the people who are actually, you know, in New York, as if it was just this white city. I actually did appreciate their attempt at adding more diversity to this cast. I thought it was something that was very important. Now, do they stick the landing for how they do this? No, but we're going to talk about that when we get into the cons. But also, where would Sex in the City be if we weren't getting some fashion, honey? You know, I thought by the time that we would have, like, you know, if they ever did another Sex in the City, because I was so young. And if my mom and dad watching, like, I know I wasn't supposed to be watching this show, y'all, but it gave me all my life, okay? I still turned out to be a good kid. But I was definitely watching Sex in the City, like, and I had no business watching it. But if there's anything else they're gonna do, they're gonna give us some fashion, y'all. I thought I would have money by the time, like, we had another version of Sex in the City. I'm still broke, y'all. I can't afford none of that, okay? But it was nice living through, you know, all these women with all their money. I don't know how the hell they make all this money, okay, to wear all these couture pieces, but here we are. But it was nice to see that as well. And also, too, I did like some of the other additions. Kathy Yang as Lily, even though Lily, can we talk about Lily for a moment? Let me talk about Lily for a moment, okay? Also, too, Chris Jackson, who you may know from Hamilton, he is also in this series as well, playing Herbert, who is Lisa's husband. But let me get back to Lily, y'all. Lily, I don't know what bad juju you got. I don't know who your previous parents were, but I'm going to assume that they were bad people, okay? First of all, because, you know, it's just bad things keep happening when Lily be around, and I just don't understand. Lily, somebody got to, like, can we get some incense or some sage or, like, some blessed oil and put it on Lily, because I just feel like Lily, whew, okay. This seems very vague right now because I don't want to give spoilers away, but once you, like, watch it, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll exactly be side-eyeing Lily, how I will now be side-eyeing Lily for the rest of the series. So, now, even though I have things that I did enjoy about this series, I got issues. Yeah, I have issues with this series. And, you know, one of the biggest issues that I have is that they lost the essence of why people actually watch Sex and the City. Did Sex and the City have issues? Yes, it definitely had issues. When you go back and rewatch it, it didn't age well, y'all. But however, during that time, Sex and the City gave me my entire life. And I felt like because the series focused so much on trying to right the wrongs of what the original series did, and just like that, it wasn't hitting the way that I needed to be hitting it. And first and foremost, as I talk about how important it is to have a series that focuses on women in their 50s, you can focus on women in their 50s without saying they're old. I feel like watching the first 4 episodes, every chance they get there, it's like, hey, I'm old. I can't do that. Oh, let me schedule my colonoscopy because I'm old. Oh, my hair is gray because I'm old. Hey, guess what? Just in case you didn't know, I'm old. Y'all, first of all, they're in their 50s. Y'all acting like these women are like 100 years old. They're in their 50s. They're not even old. They ain't even old. Like, they look good. So why not celebrate? Why not redefine what it means to be in your 50s, right? To show that, yes, we're in our 50s, but we still look good. We still rocking these outfits, and we are still dealing with the same issues that we were in our 30s. They just look a little bit different now. And I just really hated that I just felt like the whole time they just talk about how old they were. I said, baby, you're not even old. Do I need to hug somebody in the writer's room? Like, I just felt like this was just a little bit too much. And also, too, while we're talking about it, let's go ahead. Let's talk about diversity. Diversity. As much as I was so excited to see like different people from different walks of life in this series, I just felt as though how they introduced some of these characters, it was like, hey, we're going to have all these different people from different walks of life in this series, but we're still going to center it around whiteness and microaggressions. And we see this with like Charlotte and Miranda. Charlotte is probably 10 times worse than Miranda, and you guys haven't even gotten to the episode I'm talking about because it doesn't happen until episode 4. But I was just like, Charlotte, who are you? Miranda, who are you? At least Miranda's, with her character, is more like she's trying so hard to be inclusive that, you know, when you're try hard, you almost start saying the wrong things. And we see this as she comes in contact with Karen Pittman's character, who is her college professor. While I think as the episodes go on, it gets a little bit better. But I think if you're going to have diversity, like when we said diversity, honey, just let these people be on the show. It didn't have to be like, oh, look at my cultural best friend. This is Charlotte's cultural best friend. This is Miranda's cultural best friend. It just came off like, ew. Like, y'all just, it rubbed me the wrong way. And especially when we get into a later episode where Charlotte basically white-splains to black people about black art and black artists. Baby, there were so many cringe moments that I did have that I had to pause a couple of times and be like, they did not, to the point where I was just like, did you guys have like black writers? Did you have is this a diverse writer's room? Because how y'all wrote some of these things, it was just giving me cringe. I'm trying so hard to be woke. Let me check these boxes. To the point where I was like, I mean, if I knew y'all was gonna do all of this, I would rather you just make it this white series like it was before and just figure out something else to talk about. Because I was just like, honey, if you can't understand the assignment and if you can't execute on that assignment, don't do it. Y'all got dragged for all these years anyway, and people still watch Sex and the City. And we watched the movies and we're watching this and just like that. So like, I would have been like, okay, well, let's just be raggedy and just continue with the same people we had if you're not going to be able to properly execute on it. Also, too, there is something that happens to one of the main characters, and you guys probably already know about it. And I was kind of just like, well, why do we have to do this? Once again, this kind of relates back to my point about, hey guys, we're old, and this is what people in their 50s, because they're old, would actually be going through. And I was just like, honey, no, I just didn't like it. Maybe because I'm just attached to that character, and I just felt like y'all couldn't just let these people live. Like, you took them through so much through the movies, the sequels, and now you're just gonna do this in the first episode of that. But I will say that how that is handled through through that person's interaction with their friends, literally it was like art imitating life. Like watching that and knowing like what I kind of went through with one of my friends, literally like a year and a half ago, it took me back. Like I was literally crying like during that episode because it literally took me back. That's how good that episode was. But I'm just saying, I'm still mad at y'all. Y'all not staying in heaven for doing what y'all did, but it is what it is. But outside of that, even though I do have a lot of issues, y'all. It's a lot of cringy moments. I will say as the episodes continue to go on, it does get better. And they start figuring out like what made people actually like Sex and the City. Now, before I even close this out, I do have to address what happened with Samantha because Kim Cattrall didn't want to return. While I was okay with what they did with her character as to addressing why that character isn't there, it still in the second episode didn't make sense for that character not to be there, especially given where they went with the storyline. It didn't make sense. Did I think it was cute and touching how they kind of handled it? Yes. But I was just like, baby, do we need to call Ayanna to come in and help y'all fix both y'all lives and like just get this back together? Like, just let us know what we need to do, because honestly, the show really isn't the same with not having Samantha's character there. But I do like that they kind of kept it open-ended for her to actually come back. And if y'all want to call Ayanna, if y'all want to call Oprah, anybody, just let me know. I'll start a petition. I'll do what needs to be done, but she needs to come back. But overall, I'm not even gonna get on the whole parenting thing. It's just so much that I have to talk about, y'all. I don't even have the time to talk about this video already 13 minutes long. I gotta stop talking. But also too, the whole parenting thing, I was just like, what type of parenting are you doing, Miranda? What type of parenting is this? Okay, because it doesn't make any sense to me. But that's a whole discussion for another day. But what I will say is that even though they definitely stumbled a lot throughout these episodes, it does tend to get a little bit better as the episodes progress. And honestly, at the moments where and just like that is actually fun to watch is when they just actually remember the reasons why people fell in love with the series in the first place. And if they can continue to focus on that, focus on talking about issues that, women actually go through, that women actually talk about, that Hollywood is too scared to actually show on screen, I think that in just like that will actually be something that a lot of people can stick around to and keep watching each week. But right now it's a mixed bag for me. But like I said, they still have my attention and I hope that it gets better. But those are pretty much my thoughts on Just Like That. I will be recapping the series, so I'll start off next week with episode 3. But those are my thoughts on Just Like That and Just Like That, which airs on HBO Max each Thursday. My name is Sharina Williams from Pay Your Weight. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again, bye.